How are you? What's the matter? Is something the matter?
Elaza, how are you?
How are you? Hi, Walter. Hi.
Hi.
How you doing?
I can sit down a second.
Okay.
That's what I'm doing.
It's my little Israeli grandchild.
There's some babies on the
My baby.
floor in that bathroom that belongs to your kids. You know about it?
Amazon come today? Did the envelope come today?
Envelope or
Yeah.
package?
Amazon envelope.
Oh, you told me a pack.
Kenny,
Walter,
you?
welcome back. Great
Thank
to hear
you.
your
How
voice.
are you? How are you?
Good. Are you back?
Yes, I'm back. Sure.
Wonderful. How was Yontiv?
Wonderful, beautiful, really beautiful.
It's great to hear.
How about by you?
I missed you in Oxnard. You know that.
Yeah, well, looks like I might be back there.
Walter, that boy that drowned, was that in the program? Was he in that program?
What boy?
There's a boy that drowned in Arizona,
No.
in the lake Arizona, during Halamot, a young 20-year-old boy, yeshiva
Really?
boy. Yeah,
Really?
he died in the lake there. I guess he went boating and he drowned. 20-year-old yeshiva boy.
I didn't
thought
know.
he-
It must have been by the Gateways program. It wasn't at our program. It was a Gateways program as well.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay, never, whatever. Yeah,
That's
Yeah.
terrible. I didn't know that.
yeah. 20-year-old boy was in the yeshiva world today. Never. They tried it.
Oy.
Boat turned over, and I guess he got lost. And
Yeah.
they searched for him. They found the body, but that's yeah. I thought I'd been from there.
Tell me some good news, Elazar. Oy.
I'm sorry, I didn't know that. I thought maybe it came from your hotel. I didn't know you about it.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah.
No.
The good news, we looking. Yeah, I'm looking forward to next year's matzah. Right, I can hardly wait to taste the matzah. It's amazing how the anticipation once you finish, you don't want it for a long time.
Yeah, I like matzah.
Yeah. Okay.
No, the program was very nice, Pastor. It was fabulous. It was
Wonderful.
1,200. There were 1,000 people in shul at night.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
This KMR, was it?
No, it wasn't Kmart. It was leisure, travel, and Costa Rica together.
Oh.
Ernie,
okay.
was machst du, Ernie?
Hi.
What happened last night? What time was the show? I turned it on. I waited. 7:30 and there was no share and I waited. What time
It
was
was
the
at
show?
8 o'clock.
8 o'clock.
We missed you, Elazar.
No, I was up. I waited the whole time. I waited and there was no one. You said because you announced the day before, 7:30.
Oh, but I sent out on the, you gotta check your text messaging.
I did.
I sent out that it had to be at 8 o'clock. Trying to remember what happened yesterday, but we moved it to 8.
All right. Well, I learned that. Should have. Okay. Well, next time.
Okay, so we're on Memches. Memches, we're gonna try to learn 2 blot today. Memches, we said by the Eishes Yifas Toar, Umuter B'miyad, that at the time of Tefillah, she doesn't have to accept mitzvahs. Amr of my time Rav Shimon Lazar. Chsiv kol eved ish miknat kasef. An eved that is bought by money. Eved ish v'lo eved isha. What's pshat? Why eved ish, not eved isha? Ella, eved isha tamal bal korcho. An eved, a goy that you're buying as an eved, you circumcise him even against his will. V'iyah tamal ben ish bal korcho. But a goy who's coming to be Megayer, if he doesn't want circumcision, you don't force him. Now, the Rabbanon who use the pasuk for something else, how do they learn? Amr Ula, Kashem Shiyatamal ben Ish Bal Korcho, Kachiyatamal Eved Ish Bal Korcho. They hold that in either case you cannot circumcise against their will. I Velahaksiv Kol Eved Ish, which implies that an Eved Knani you can mal against his will. The Gemara says, an Eved has to be owned by somebody. If he's not, he goes out free. And even Ein Tzarach get Shechur. Shenemar called Eved Ish Miknas Kasev. Why do you need Eved Ish lo Eved Isha? Ela Eved Sheish lo Reshus Rabu Alav Kori Eved. If a master has ownership, then he's an Eved. V'shein Reshus Rabu Alav and Kori Eved, you don't even need to get Shechur. It happens automatically. Maski for Rav Papa Eimer Deshamis Rabbanon be Yifas Toyar. Maybe a Yifas Toyar, there's no inyan of forcing them to accept mitzvahs by tefillah, because the loy shaycha b'mitzvahs. There's no requirement that she perform mitzvahs when she's a Yifas Toyar until she becomes a Jew. Aval Eved, an Eved Knani, when he lives in your house, he performs mitzvahs like an Isha. The Shayach mitzvah Chanami that feel Rabbanan Moedu. Maybe there Rabbanan will be Moedu that you can force him at the time of tefillah to accept mitzvahs. To Tanya echad ger vechad lokech cheved v'nanok. Yitzrach lekabel mitzvahs. Whether he's a convert, whether you're buying an Eved from a goy, both people need kabbalas all mitzvahs. But halokech misrael ein tzarach lekabel. But if you buy from a Jew, he's not mekabel. Now, who is that? Mani Rav Shimon Lazar. He doesn't require kabbalas mitzvahs even when you buy him from a goy. Must be lalav rabbanon. Ushma bin ad lokech ben anoch litzrach lekabel. Aval lokech misrael ein tzarach lekabel. So perhaps we've proved that according to Chachamim, when he doesn't mekabel, he doesn't have to be mekabel mitzvahs by tefillah. What about the Bryce that says elakasha echad ger vechad eved meshuchra that requires it? Ki Tanya, that's lenient tefillah Tanya. It's only to go to the mikveh. But to be makabel mitzvahs when you go to the mikveh, that they don't necessarily agree to. Tarabah. Vigil chas roshavas tat sipor now. The Yifas Torah has to cut her hair, and she has to do her fingernails. What does that mean? Rabbi Eliezer Omer tikkots. She has to cut the fingernails. Rabbi Kiva Omer tagdim. She has to grow them. 9. It says v'asa by it's an action by her head and an action by her nails. Malal navara, by hair we mean cutting it, so it must be by nails also. Afkan navara. Rabbi Kiva malal nivul. Why do we grow her hair long? To make her look ugly. Afkan nivul. So they're also growing it long. The whole 30 days that she's waiting. And that's the halacha. U'Rayli Eliezer Mepiboshes ben Shaul, Yorad likras hamelech lo asa raglav lo asa sfamo. He didn't care for his feet and for his mustache. Mayasi avar means he didn't cut.
In the case of a person, a woman or a man, if they convert them against their will, and they're mechalal Shabbos, can you give misa?
You can't convert people against their will.
Yeah, but according to this, you can. If like a Yifas Torah if you buy an Eved, capture an Eved, if you capture him, capture somebody. We just said we could.
You don't maul him against his will.
So if he's not a Jew, then But does he have to keep the mitzvahs of Anisha then or not? If you want to use it for an Evid.
We'll see in a minute if he doesn't want to mal what the din is. That's coming up. But he doesn't have to accept it.
So he's not a Jew, then he doesn't have the
No,
responsibility of keeping Shabbos or anything, right?
no.
Okay.
She cries for her father and mother. Means her parents. She's crying about her avodah zarah. Now, how long? Yerach yomim, it means yerach shloishim yom. The Tanna Kama says 30 days. She has to wait before you can marry her. Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar Omer tishim yom, 90. Yerach shloishim, yomim shloishim, v'achakein shloishim, 90. Masked Ravina, ema yerach shloishim, yomim shloishim, now you're up to 60. V'achakein should be 120. Kihani, kasha. The Rambam Paskins is 30 days. But again, you can't marry her for another 2 months because you need Havchana. We said there has to be 90 days before you marry any woman, because we don't know who the child's going to be. Torah Rabbana. Let's say the Eved doesn't want to be mald. According to Rabbi Shmuel, you can keep him in your house. You can't keep him. It says even everyone has to keep Shabbos, even those avodim that are not gemalt. Well, if you're talking about avodim that are not gemalt, that proves Rabbi Shmuel, you can keep them. It doesn't mean someone who by choice does not mal himself. You bought him right before Shabbos. He couldn't mal him before Shabbos. Everybody holds that when it says v'nafesh ben amascha, you have to let the servant rest even on Shabbos. That's an evidor. My mashra. Where do you see this? Tanya. V'nafesh ben amascha be'evid orel hakos medaber. Atomer be'evid orel lo inel be'evid mol. Maybe it's referring to a circumcised Eved. Kisho oimer, lamanya nuach avdecha v'maschak kamocha, re Eved mol omer. So we talk about an Eved Knani that's mol. Haman mekavi novish ben amascha, the Eved orel. So who's the ger? It's a ger toshav. A ger toshav is a goy that lives in Eretz Yisrael, but he only keeps the seven mitzvahs bnei noyach. He just doesn't worship avodah zarah. And he keeps Shabbos because Rashi says, Machalas Shabbos kovid avodah zarah, he's not allowed to worship avodah zarah. Atam is ger toshav u'ein el ger tzedek. Maybe it means a regular ger, a convert. Kishoyim v'ger chashav b'sharecha. That's the ger in your sha'arecha is a ger tzedek. Haman mekayim that ger is a ger toshav. You buy an Eved Knani from a goy. Elazar's question. You can keep him for 12 months. You got to sell him back to the goy. That's it. So you can't force him. He doesn't want it. He doesn't want it. That's how the Rambam paskins. That's obviously not like Rabbi Kiva. He says you can't keep them around at all. We're not sure if he hasn't come to a final decision. Then you can keep, even Rabbi Kiva says you can keep him around. Once he makes a final decision, you can't keep him around. Then you got to get rid of him. We learned the sigya in front of Rav Zvid. Why did we have to come up with this teretz about the Eved v'nafesh ben amascha as you bought the Eved right before Shabbos? Lishni leiha. He could say that this is an Eved that's in your house, right, for 12 months. So the Gemara answers, okay, take one out of two. They're both answers. Shalach Rabbi Mishmei Rabbi Loi. Who is an Eved that's in your house as an Orel that you can keep him? He made a Tanai not to circumcise him. He bought him with that Tanai. That's got to be like Rabbi Shmuel only, because Rabbi Kiva says you can't be Makayim such an Eved. Di Rabbi Kiva Amar Makayim, Amar Rav Papa, Filu Tem Rabbi Kiva, Adam Yelech Deloy Atne Ba'adei. He didn't make a Tanai with the Eved in the beginning. But if he did make a Tanai, then Echanami, the Tanai is operative.
Why is it so important?
And the Rambam says, Im Hisna Eved Merosh, Shein Rotza Lomu, and Mutter Lakaimo Beveso Kamashir, like Rabbi Shubin Levi.
Why is it? Ernie, where's the Havam? Where does it come from that you have to be Mal and Eved who's a Nochri? He's not a.
It says, Eved Ish Makna Kesef Umalta Oso. The Torah gives you
a pasuk.
It's a pasuk. We learned it tonight. Eved Ish Miknas Kasef Umalta Oto, and you have to mal him. So the question is it Bal Korcha or not? So we've learned tonight that it's not.
Okay.
His dad told me a story when he was in YU as this youngster. There was an Italian guy that used to beat up all the kids. And one day they got a hold of this guy, was an Italian guy. They got a hold of him and they surrounded him and they started to beat him. So he said, do whatever you want to. You don't make me a Jew. He didn't want to, they told him they were going to give him a meal. Don't make me a Jew. Don't make me a Jew. That's got even with him. Okay.
Right. Amrav Kanamita l'shmaitza kamidra zibinar dov armeli ihachi ki kamele Rabbi Kiva b'lokech Eved ben Hashmashas v'lo yispeak l'mulo. Why did Rabbi Kiva have to come up with this teretz of buying him right before Shabbos? Lishnei leha. You could say that he made it tonight. He could have given the other reason. You have three reasons. We gave three reasons so far, possibilities. Either he made it tonight, or he hasn't come to a final decision, or he bought him right before Shabbos. Yosef Rav Chanina Bar Papi Rav Ami Rav Yisuk Nafcha killed Rav Yisuk Nafcha. Yosef would come. They were learning. It was a city, and the Avodim didn't want to get circumcised. They dallied for 12 months. The city turned around and sold them back to the Goyim. Kiman ki aitana, like the following time of the Tanya. You sell them back. Rav Shimon Elazar Omer, Ein mashno so Eretz Yisrael, but they have sataris. We don't keep him in Eretz Yisrael because everything he touches, he's going to be like a goy. He's going to be matame everything. Uve'ira smuchal is fine mashno so kolikar. In a border town, you don't leave him there for a minute. He's going to hear some secret plan in the town. And he's going to go tell his fellow goy. It's going to be a sakana. How come the converts today, they're chepid, they have yisurim? Because while they were goyim, they didn't keep the sheva mitzvahs. When they become Jews, they get punished. Rabbi Yossi Omer, nothing doing. Ger, sheniz gayer kekon shenola dami. What happened before a ger became a ger is wiped away. They haven't been born to Judaism. They're not careful in the details of mitzvahs like Jews. They don't do mitzvahs out of love, they do it out of fear. They delayed before they became Jews. Like they said to Rus, Yishalem Hashem pa'olcha, you should be paid back. Utihi masker tech shlema, your reward should be full. Miyim Hashem el Yisrael shebat lachsois v'goyim. So she came quickly, so she gets a reward.
Today, when we beguile someone, do we wait until they're Makabel call 6 or they'd say they could be
We
Makabel?
learned this yesterday. We learned this yesterday. We went through what you have to do, what you have to tell them, you have to.
Right, I know that.
And then you
but-
teach them some of the mitzvahs, some of the punishments.
Yeah, so we don't, so we still, I know, I learned it also, so a guy, even though it's minor, maybe you drop one of the things that they're not gonna keep. We let them, we still sim a guy and let him,
It's an extremely complicated subject, the Maisa.
yeah,
It's there. The Chazoni, the Chaim Oizer was much more lenient. Today, all these Russian Jews in previous generations would have been converted. They're not converting them down. They're being machmir. It's leading to problems. So because they're saying, well, listen, we want to be Jews, but we want to be Jews like our Chiloni neighbors down the block. But for the current Rabbanut, they're saying it's not enough. They have to, so it's problematic. Now I'm going to hang up and call right back because I want to learn the next blot, and we have the time, and it's a small blot. And we get back on the blot, so let me hang up and call right back. Okay, now we're on Memtes 49, which is today's blot. Mishnah, Ezel Mamzer, Kol She'er Basar Shu B'lo Yavo. There's multiple machloikas here. If the relationship is any mishpacha, even if it's just below Yavo, even if it's just a lav, not kares. For example, the Rashi says, Anusas Aviv, not your father's wife, but your father raped a woman. And then you have relations with that woman. That's a lav. Lo yigala knaf aviv. But it comes through a familial relationship because your father had relationships with her. Or you're not supposed to marry a woman you gave chlitza to. If you marry her, you're over the lav of lo yivneh. So it's a lav, not kares, but it's also a lav of relationships, of kurva. Now, for example, lo yavo amoni b'kal Hashem. That's not kurva. That you can't marry an amoni. That's something with your family. So right there's a nafkamina. So according to Rabbi Kiva, any lav with a family relationship creates mamzeres. Shimon atemoni oimer called shechayav lam kares b'dei shamayim. Any relationship where there's kares, then not necessarily misas bezdin. For example, achos isha is kares, but not misas bezdin. Eishes ish is misas bezdin. Kalosoi, imoy, bitoy, those are misas bezdin. But Rosh Hashanah doesn't require that much, only requires kares. But for example, noisei chalutzaso, marrying the woman you gave chlitza to, that's only a lav of lo yivneh, it's a malchus. So therefore, according to Shimon HaTemoni, he wouldn't be a mamzer. Malacha kidvarim. Rabbi Yeshua Eimer kol shechayav of misas bezdin. Rabbi Yeshua is more stringent.
Yeah.
It's eishes ish and any other erva where you're put to death by bezdin. Then it's mamzer. Because he found a Megillas of Yichus in Yerushalayim, Kosuvba, Ish Ploni Mamzer Me'eshes Ish. I'm a Mamzer because I came from a relationship with an Eshes Ish. Now, why did it say that? L'kayim de Rabbi Yeshua. Because Eshes Ish is Eshes Ish is B'misas Bezdin. So the Megillas Yuchsin talked about Eshes Ish. The only erva that eventually is mutter is a person's wife's sister. After the death of your wife, you can marry her sister. And if you divorced her, Girsha, and then she dies, your wife, Mesa, Mutter B'choisa. Nisus la'acher Mesa. Let's say she marries somebody else and dies. Mutter B'choisa. As long as your previous wife is still alive, no matter what her marital status is, she's single, she's divorced, she's remarried, doesn't make a difference. You can't marry your sister. Once she dies, no matter what, she had remarried, she had not remarried, you can marry your sister. Yevim Toshemesa. You have Reuven and Shimon. Reuven dies. The wife of Reuven falls to Shimon. He cannot live with her sister. Now, if she dies before he does Yibum, Mutter B'choisa, right? Then it's not, there's no, that's an erva that also is permitted after her death. Cholatzla umeisa Mutter B'choisa. He gave her chlitza. So this is achos chalutzasa. During her lifetime, you can't marry your sister. But then once she dies, you can marry your sister. Nisas la'acher. This Yevimto married somebody else. That's after you gave her chlitza. And then she died. Mutter B'choisa. You could also marry your sister. So the Gemara analyzes the Mishnah. My time in Rabbi Kiva that he said there's mamzeris with just lav of she'er basar, familiar relationships. The Ksiv. Lo yikach ish es eshes aviv, v'lo yigak knaf aviv, knaf shero aviv lo yigale. V'sover lo Rabbi Yehuda damer banusas aviv akosu medaber. This lo yavo, lo yigale knaf aviv refers to a woman that his father raped. There was no nesuin. We understand eshes aviv is who is not your mother, right? Your stepmother. That's certainly usher. A person's, your father's wife, who is your mother, you're usher because of eshes av, but you're also usher because of imo. Now, your father raped a woman. So that's a lav. Lo yigak knaf aviv. It's just a lav. Immediately after that pasuk, it says Lo yavo mamzer b'kal Hashem. Ama mahani avi mamzer. Rabbi Kiva learns the product of a relationship, even with just a lav, creates mamzeres. Rav Simoy demar b'shar chavi lavin delav d'she'er. Rav Simoy in Ksubis min hakol haya oiser b'kiva mamzerim. I'm reading Rashi. Chutzma amana l'kohen gadol she'oiser chalolim v'lo mamzerim. If an amana is a lav, it's only a lav yet. Rabbi Kiva says there's no mamzeres chalolim because the Torah says that. Midikar chutzma amana alma afilu chayve lavin shalom machmas kurvas marbe. Rav Simoy learns in Rabbi Kiva that even lavin that have nothing to do with familiar relationships could go machzer grushaso mishanisas. A person takes back his wife who he divorced after she married. Or kigon nesin el Yisrael. You're not allowed to marry a Ammoni or Moavi. The kaima belos is chatin bam. Umishiva umosu. Kigon Ammoni shenasa bas Yisrael ban of mamzeri. So Rav Simoy learns in Rabbi Kiva that he adds lavim not necessarily connected to familiar. So shar chavi lavin de lav de she'er. And then it says, Mitzri, it says, Dor Shlishi Yavo Lahem. You can marry a Mitzri after 3 generations. No love at all. It's an asay. So Rav Yeshaviv said, Kol she'en lo bia b'Yisrael avlad mamzer, even if you violated an asay. So nafkilahu mi velo. They add these Yisrim from velo yigalik nafavi. The Vav Yisera adds these other examples to mamzeres. V'shimon atemoni serval krabono, not like Rabbi Kiva de Amri. B'shomeres yavim shel aviv akosav medaber. When it says in the pasuk, lo yigale knaf aviv, it's not referring to anusas aviv. It's referring to the father, that the father had a brother who died, and the widow of that brother fell to the father. That's called shomeres yavim shel aviv, which is Eishes Achi Aviv, right? The wife of your uncle, of your father's brother. That's Kares. It's repeated in Dvarim because it wanted to connect it to Le'avo Mamzer, to teach me that. So this is the Mishnah and Gemara we learned tonight is critical. It's critical for the rest of Yevamos. It's critical for Ksubis. It's critical for all Even HaEzer. These are the fundamental laws of Mamzeris. And you see the machloikas between Rabbi Akiva and the Chachamim where they learned it. It learned it out from Lo Yigalek Knaf Aviv. According to Rabbi Akiva, it's a straight lav. It's based on the woman that the father raped. And according to the way the Chachamim learned it, they hold it referring to Shomeres Yavim Shalavim Akasum Adaber. Davilav Chayve Krisus, because it's Eishes Achiav. The Samech Le Lo Yavo Mamzer, Alma Mechave Krisus Avi Mamzer. Now, what's the third opinion? Rabbi Yoshua, who says that you only get Mamzeris from Chayve Nisas Bezdin. Lichtov Rachmana Lo Yigale Knafa. What's Lo Yikach V'Lo Yigale Lami? Why? There's double language. Ela Lavachi Kamar. Milo Yikach Ad Lo Yigale. So Rashi, if it's a woman that he raped, or Shomeres Yavim Lichtov, Lo Yigalek Knaf Aviv, L'chudei. Well, Ashmi'inon, you would have taught me the Yeshmamzer Mechayve Krisus Rabbanon, or Mechayve Lavin Rabbi Yehuda. The Kol Shekei Meishes Avdavi B'Kor Sumisa. But Lo Yikach Ishes Ishesh Aviv Lamed Li L'Michtav. El Shmamina Midich Kosiv HaKamashmalan Do Lo Yavo Mamzer Alokoi. It's only Eishes Achi Av is you're put to death for that. It's Mishum Dechavim Isusu. Ela Yigale Knafaviv Lo Koi V'Ikasha Knafaviv Lamai Kosvi B'Shemeres Yavim Lavar Lo B'Shnei Lavin Erzach Lo Sagale V'Lav Lo Yigale Knafaviv Iban Asavi V'Ashmin Ad Asura Lo Yikach Ad Lo Yigale Hainu De Eishes Av Ksuva Ben Lo Yikach Lo Yigale. It refers to only those Averis which gives you Misas Bestin. More than that, there's no mamzer. Person has a relationship with his wife who's a nida, and a child is born. He's not a mamzer. Vela sota. A woman, father's husband's wife is mezaneh, so he's not allowed to live with her until he divorces her. Let's say he lives with her, and they have a child. Ain't a vlad mamzer. It's just a lav. It's not Bekaris. Neither die tafse kiddushin.
It's not psul the child either, right? The Nida Ben Nida says a psul the child. As far as there's no psul.
The child is fine.
Yeah.
The child is fine. Why? Neither die tafse kiddushin. It's not because it says utihi nidasa alav. Afilu b'shas nidasa tafse kiddushin. You have a chuppah nida. You give kiddushin to a nida. The kiddushin is chal. So anytime kiddushin is chal, there's no mamzeris. So tanami that types of kiddushin. And by this nus, a wife that was mezaneh, she's still your wife.
Is a kiddushin to be? I mean, it's to be, not to a mammon or something.
No. Person's married to his wife. Person's married.
No, but you say kiddushin. You said kiddushin.
And then she's mezaneh with somebody else. She's an Eishes Ish who's mezaneh. The din is you're not allowed to live with her. But if you lived with her and you had a child, the child is not a mamzer because the kiddushin that you had with her doesn't go away. Same thing by the nida. It says usihi nidasa Allah. The word usihi is like vayihi. Havaya refers to kiddushin. There's an act of kiddushin. So if you have a chuppah nida, so the Rambam says, "Hamakadosh achas mikol harayos, sheyesh alein chiv kares or misas bezin, ein kiddushin toifsin ba. Chutz min anida. There is kares by anida. Shekidushe Kidushin Gmurim. Aval Ein Roy Lasos came. Because of Atasha B'Dorasenu Ein Nizarn Kol Kach B'Zeh Mishum Hefsed Achonis Chasana. People spend $100,000 for a wedding, and the Nebuch the Kal is in need. We don't not do chuppah v'kiddushin. Aval v'lechatchila v'adei mishtadlim shelo tei chuppah nida. We try to get around it. And hakol moedim sheyelad another ben anida she'ein mamzer afilu medivrei soifrim. Umutar afilu lekahuna, says the Beis Shmuel. Aval upagum ve'ein mishpachto miyucheses. That's what the Rambam says. But the Beis Shmuel says you can marry a Kohen as well. Let's say you have a woman, Reuven and Shimon. Reuven dies. She's a lady in waiting. And she gets married to somebody else without chlitza. It's also just a lav. Ein avlad mamzer. But Abaya shemer sev mesapkele. Ikarabi kishmul is machlokes between Rav, who holds that if a woman who's waiting to have chlitza doesn't get chlitza and marries to somebody else, Rav holds that the kiddushin is not toifus and the vlad is a mamzer. Shmuel holds that the kiddushin is toifus and the child is not a mamzer. There's no psak yet because the machlok is going to come up between Rav and Shmuel later on.
There was Zika though. I mean, there was Zika with that, and she just ignored it. So, and according to Van Dormer, Zika is.
Yeah, but Shmuel holds that it's not Zika, it's only rabbinic. And therefore, if she gets kiddushin from another man, the kiddushin is toifus. Rav says no. Minayin shein kiddushin toifus b'Yevamos d'chsiv lo siyeh eishes ameis achutz le'izar lo siyeh b'havaya l'zar v'avlad mamzer. Or Shmuel, the Omer bani Yosenu b'aniyas datenu tzricha get. The Misafklan ilahachi yudas k'tikom Rav odim alokum b'lav asav kiddushin tafsiba midafik lav didei b'loshon havaya. Machlokes Rav and Shmuel. We'll see how we pass it. Okay, I'm going to stop here. So we did pretty much all of Mem Tes, and then tomorrow we'll do the blood. We'll finish the Masechta and just carry on.
Sure.
Now, tomorrow is 7:30. 7:30, and the Tzorba will be at 8:00.
Sure.
Shkoyach Yoni.
Does everybody know Harold back?
I don't know, maybe he's tired. He's on a different time zone.
Okay, we'll see everybody tomorrow.
Okay.